YouTube, what is good? It is Saturday. We are finishing off the day here. It's been kind of corona crazy. Everybody's on edge. It's just a weird time. But you know what? The show must go on. I'm still shipping out a lot of items. Thankfully the post office is still open. And hopefully there's no plans on closing it, because if that happens, I'd be screwed. Anyway, first item we have going out today is this beautiful 1994 Wilson authentic Seahawks jersey. Man, this piece is crazy. I really didn't know what it was worth. I put it on eBay for $500. I had an offer of 3. I countered with 4, and boom, it is heading to Washington. Very nice piece. Obviously this is like an on-field jersey. I don't know much about it, but I know that it's one of a kind. So one of a kind jerseys, if I find them, I put them up for super high prices, and I hope somebody bites. So this right here is heading to Washington, and that's what's first on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair of size 7 Adidas Yeezy 350 V2 clays. This pair is very, very lightly worn. This sneaker, brand new in this size, goes for about $550. This pair sold for about $425 plus shipping, and it is heading to New York. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have an Air Jordan 8. This is size 9.5. These are the 3-peat editions. This pair sold for a little over $100 and is heading to New Hampshire. Pretty cool colorway, a little different. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have this pair of Air Jordan 1 mids. This is like kind of like a poor man's Royal edition. This pair sold and it is heading to New Jersey. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have quite the rare pair nowadays. This is the Nike Zoom Vic 3. If you guys remember when the Michael Vick sneakers started coming out, they kind of sat. But now to find these sneakers, it's like really, really impossible damn near. They're not on StockX, they're not really on GOAT. These sold for about $190 shipped, and they're heading to New York. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. YouTube, we are back. It is Monday. The world is going coronavirus crazy. We might have to shut the store down tomorrow, man. It's getting that bad. Sad day. But anyway, let's get right down to business. First off, we have these Air Jordan 11 Low Infrared 23 edition. These are pretty worn. They're heading to Ohio for about 100 shipped, and that's what's first on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have this AC Milan jersey. This is a pretty cool piece. We just got it in the other day. Happy that it's selling very quickly. This piece right here is heading to Oregon, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have 2 beautiful pieces. This is a size 60 Ronaldo Blackman jersey. Really nice jersey. It's just a size 60. And then we have this Cleveland Cavaliers size 56. No, size 54 free jersey. These are both authentics. Both of these jerseys are heading to Georgia, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got a very clean pair of Cool Gray 4s. These are heading to California, used, no box, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next on What's Shipping, we have this pair of Nike Air Foamposite 1 maroons. This pair is heading to New York for about 100 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have this pair of De La Soul highs. This pair is heading overseas for about $190 plus shipping, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair of cool gray Air Jordan 10s. This is a size 13 pre-owned, and it is heading to Oregon for a little less than 100 shipped. That's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a beautiful pair of eggplant Foamposites. These are in really good condition. They sold for about 200 shipped, and they are heading to South Carolina, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have something interesting. This is a Schoolyard Legends LeBron Irish jersey. Kind of cool, kind of fake looking at the same time. This jersey is heading overseas, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pretty beat up pair of whiteout Foamposites. Even though whiteout Foamposites are beat up, they usually sell for something. This pair is heading to South Carolina, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair that I honestly thought would sell for a lot more. This is a Nike Air Max Deluxe Skepta edition. I actually paid $100 for these, and I ended up selling them for $100. I thought they'd sell for $150, but they were just sitting around. This pair is used, and it is heading to Texas, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Last on this quick segment of what's shipping, we have a pair of Space Jam 11s. This pair is really cooked. Regardless of it being cooked, it sold for around $100. This pair is heading to Illinois, and that's what's last on this quick segment of what's shipping. YouTube, what is good? Today is Tuesday. We are officially closed due to the coronavirus. It is getting really scary out here. Thankfully, the post office is still open. Thankfully, orders are still coming in. I have a lot of orders to pack up today. We're going to do a quick first half. I'm going to pack these up, and then I'm going to get the second half of these orders out later today. So let's get right down to business. First up on what's shipping, we have an Air Jordan 12. This is the Master colorway. If you guys remember correctly, the Master colorway went crazy. These were like $350. They came out during tax time. This pair is in really good condition, but it has this terrible scuff on the toe. So because of the scuff, these only sold for about 100 plus shipping. These are heading to Virginia, and that's what's first on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a pair of Air Jordan 6 Maroons. This is a size 14. Shouts to the big footers out there. This pair sold for a little over $100 plus shipping. I believe these are heading to Illinois, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have what I personally think was one of the best releases of 2019, the Air Jordan 4 Cool Gray. Definitely a classic pair. A lot of people slept on these. This pair is heading to Maryland, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Another pair heading to Maryland is these Nike ACG Wildwoods. Really cool shoe. Sold them for the low. These are heading to Maryland for about 100 shipped, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have an Air Jordan 14. This is the Ferrari edition. Vroom vroom. Really cool classic sneaker. Goes for a lot of money now if you could find them brand new. This pair is used and it's heading to North Carolina. I had these up on eBay for quite some time now, so definitely happy to get rid of them. And that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a pair of Nike LeBron 12 lows. Looks like a really comfortable sneaker. I believe this is the Entourage colorway or whatnot. This pair is heading to New York for about 100 shipped or so, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a Nike Air Max 90. This is the Mars Landing edition. I think these are really slept on, man. Really cool concept, really cool sneaker. I wouldn't be surprised if these go up in value one day. It will take a long time though, because they hit outlets and such, and a lot of people are probably sitting on a lot of pairs that they got for the low. Anyway, this pair is heading to New York, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we have a pair of Air Jordan 2s. This pair is a black and red colorway. These are not in the best condition, not in the worst condition. They're heading to Virginia for less than 100 shipped, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Next up on what's shipping, we got 3 orders that are heading to GOAT. Obviously, GOAT closed down their facility when it comes to drop-offs due to the coronavirus. So sadly, we got to ship these items out. Here are the items we got going out today. First up, we got the Air Jordan 1 Origin Stories, aka Spider-Man. Nice pair, obviously. Just looks like a Chicago 1, basically, until you get to the translucent bottom. The bottom's the worst part of the sneaker, because once you wear them, they get really dirty. This pair is a size 11, used with no box. Sold for about $300, and that's what's first on what's shipping. Next item going to GOAT are these Air Jordan 3s. Really happy to get these out of here because I just don't do the best with GS sizes. This pair sold for about $70, I believe, and that's what's next on what's shipping. Last up on what's shipping, we got the pair that I'm happiest to get out of here. These are Vans Fear of Gods. I know that the Fear of God Vans sell really quickly and really well, and for the high, this pair I took in without really doing much research, and sadly they sat here for a really long time. Finally, they sold for about $220, used with no box. Very happy about that, and that's what's next on what's shipping. My first item shipping out today is this beautiful All-Star Authentic 2008 size 56 LeBron James jersey. Now, I have this jersey on eBay for $450. I received a lot of offers of $350, $380, $400. I kind of just left it there. While I was getting these offers, I said, man, should I just keep this? Should I just rock this? The 56, too big, who cares? Such an amazing piece. But all of a sudden, someone hit that buy it now button, and it sold for $465 shipped. This is heading to Oregon. Probably a piece I'll never see again. We miss the NBA, man. Hopefully the NBA comes back soon. That's what's first on what's shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a classic Air Jordan 12 flu game. This pair is really smoked. Sold for less than 100 shipped. These are heading to Maryland, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up, we have a pair of Air Jordan True Flights. Super happy to get rid of these. Didn't really think they'd sell. This pair right here is heading to Maine for like 40 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a classic Air Jordan 7 Citrus. Makes me want to whip out my pair that I have tucked away somewhere. Classic sneaker. This pair is heading to Tennessee for less than 100 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have this Darryl Strawberry Mitchell & Ness 1984 jersey. This jersey is a size 3XL, I believe. Yep, 3XL, and it is heading to Massachusetts for about 50 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. YouTube, what's good? It is Thursday, still in quarantine, still packing up orders, thank the Lord. First up on What's Shipping, we have this pair of Nike Air Vandals. This is the re-retro, I believe. They're pretty beat up. I've had these up for a while now, so I'm super happy to get them sold. These are heading to Florida, and that's what's first on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have this very cool Teddy Bruschi practice jersey. This is a very rare piece, man. Really cool to find it, have it come into the store. This sold, and it's heading to Maine for about 200 plus shipping, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have this pair of Human Race Pharrells, the tennis edition, I believe they're called. These are heading to Illinois, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair that I probably shouldn't have purchased. This is a weird Saint Laurent. Looks like the Indian in the cupboard shoe or something like that. Weird shoe. I bought them thinking I'd make like a tremendous profit on them. I did not make a tremendous profit on them. I sold them for about 100 plus shipping. They're heading to Texas, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this rare pair of old Adidas Forums. This is the forest green colorway. This pair is heading to Delaware for about 100 plus shipping, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got one of the greatest sneakers of all time, but this pair is pretty dogged out. This pair is a size 9.5 used, and it is heading to Connecticut for about 100 plus shipping, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this pair of Adidas Yeezy 350 Butters. This is a size 12 with no box. This pair is heading to Minnesota for about 200 plus shipping, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got a pair of Cool Gray 4 size 12. This pair is used, sold for a little over 100 bucks, and it's heading to Kansas, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this pair of Adidas EQT Kith, whatever they're called. Honestly, not really sure what they're called. This pair sold and is heading to Maryland for about 100 shipped, and that is what's next on What's Shipping. Here we got a beat pair of Asics. These Asics are heading to Detroit, Michigan, I believe. Yes, sir, Detroit, Michigan. These are cooked. They sold for about 50 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got an order I'm pretty excited about. This is all going to Washington. This guy purchased that really cool Seahawks jersey from me the other day and proceeded to find other things that I recently listed. The first item is this really cool Redskins Adidas Pro 2001 blank. He purchased this. The next thing he purchased was this white Redskins Adidas 2000 blank. Third thing he purchased is this really cool jersey. I'm not sure the player, I think it's a custom, but it's really cool. It's an old pro line, size 40. You know, I'd assume this guy does custom jerseys or something like that, not really sure. That's what's next that's going out. Last but not least for the jerseys, we have this beautiful white Puma Seahawks authentic. This is from the year 2000, I believe. This really nice blank authentic Puma piece is heading to Washington as well. And after this guy bought all these jerseys, all of a sudden I hear cha-ching, and he buys these homage to home ones too. So I guess he's into sneakers. This is a size 11. It sold for about $240 plus shipping. It is in lightly worn condition, and this pair is heading out with these 4 jerseys to Washington, and that's what's last on this quick segment of What's Shipping. About this order, this is a GOAT order. This is pretty important because they sold for a pretty hefty amount of money. Here we have the Nike SB Dunk Skate or Die. I had this pair for quite some time. You know, they might be really rare, but it doesn't mean they sell easily. This pair I took in on a trade-in towards a pair of Union ones. They've kind of been sitting ever since. Finally they sold on GOAT for us to get about 700. Pretty happy with the outcome, not gonna lie. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. To finish off this What's Shipping video, I just want to tell everybody out there to please be safe. We are in dire times. Please don't be on edge. Everybody's on edge. Me personally, I've been on edge. I've been ready to punch a hole through a wall. I've been flipping out every day for different reasons. It's just a weird time right now. All we could do is stay safe, wash our hands, do what we gotta do.